Both of you. Okay, so we talked about one subject, one verb, right? When you have one subject, one verb, it tells you how many clauses you have. How many clauses do we have here? We have one, right? So where are you putting your brackets at? Around one around each word? Well, there's one change to that, in that it leaves the lease out. It leaves the lease out. So here's why a lease is not the subject as well. A lease is a noun of direct address. So what that means is that all I'm doing is calling attention to someone. Right, Tanner? Tanner, do you understand what I'm saying? Tanner, what are you confused on? Tanner, can you be more specific? Okay, Tanner, could you pay attention? Now, if I say, could you pay attention? Who am I talking to? If I say, could you pay attention? Who am I talking to, Destiny? Everyone. If I say, could you all pay attention? I'm talking to everyone. But if I say, Tanner, could you all pay attention? I'm directing it towards Tanner. Does that make sense? So that's what a noun of direct address does. No, since I've said Tanner's name, I'm directing it at Tanner. Just like here, I've used Elise to direct what I'm saying about will you accept my apology to Elise. Elise does stand on her own because I'm also saying you, right? I'm saying you specifically to Elise. Yes, ma'am. Yes, very similar to that, right? Like you're directing attention to an individual. So that's what. No, you've made Mr. Lloyd the subject of that sentence. So you're just saying Mr. Lloyd has brown hair. Well, you would say Mr. Lloyd. That would be it. Yes, I would say. Right. That, yes, that's how you use a noun of direct address. You're addressing me directly. So no, it's not a direct object because the sentence is not aimed at Elise. We are calling attention to Elise. Does that make sense? That's what a noun of direct address does. It's saying, I am talking to you directly. Okay? And you would ask the question, why is you the subject? Nope, because who am I addressing? Nope, I'm addressing Elise. So that's why it's the noun of direct address. That's who I'm talking to directly. I'm using a name to call attention to that person. Okay, so you is our subject. Okay, now let's go ahead and move on into what type of clause we have. Remember to copy and paste this box over your clause. Some of you are still not doing that and you're losing easy points. Just a matter of moving that box over your clause. Do we have an independent or a dependent clause here? It makes sense on its own, right? That's all independent means. Does it make sense on its own? If so, then it's independent. Now, once you know you have an independent clause, you have some options to choose from. Is it a simple sentence, a compound sentence, a complex sentence, or a compound complex? Like your DGP help notes that you can use every day. Like it says in your DGP help notes on Wednesday, because it says in a simple sentence is one independent clause. It says a compound sentence is one, it's more than one independent clause. A complex sentence says it's an independent clause and a dependent clause. And then a compound complex says it's two independent clauses and a dependent clause. Okay. So what type of sentence do we have here? We have a simple sentence. We definitely have a simple sentence. That's what SS stands for, right? A simple sentence. And then do we have a declarative sentence? Well, let me ask you this. Are we going to put a question mark at the end of this? If it's an interrogative or an interrogative. And that's literally what interrogative means, is to ask questions. Absolutely. That's exactly why I go over it every day, and I make the joke of depends on what country, what part of the country you're from, if it's interrogative or interrogative. Correct. That's why I always do emphasis on the syllable. You change the emphasis on the syllable. Okay. So let's take a look at Thursday. What do you got? Give me one. I capitalize a lease. Why am I putting a comma there? Okay, yeah, that's what we do with a noun of direct address. When we're addressing someone directly, we put a comma. So it should end up looking like this. Why you not update? Oh, it's because I didn't type it right. Yeah. Simple subject and a verb before you can put a comma. You are correct. And we do have a simple subject and a verb. Okay, you're right. That's why it's specifically awesome. And you're absolutely right, is that you have to have a subject and a verb before you can put a comma. But in this case, you can also do it for a noun of direct address or an interjection. You can have punctuation for an interjection or a noun of direct address, because it's something completely separated from a clause. It's just simply calling attention, and you have to separate it out so it doesn't confuse someone. Well, here there are advantages to a notebook, but in this case, we will practice it and rep it.